You may not have heard of Peter Cook, but you have almost certainly seen comedy that was directly influenced by him. He was known as the father of modern satire and, as a quarter of the comedy review group Beyond the Fringe, outraged British audiences with his satire of politics and religion. The latter was the main subject of his most famous film, made at the height of his partnership with fellow Beyond the Fringe member Dudley Moore. Hello and welcome to Enchanted Essays. Today I'm reviewing the 1967 film Bedazzled. The film follows Stanley Donen, played by Moore, a burger cook at Wimpy's who is infatuated with Margaret, the waitress, played by Eleanor Bron. After he fails to take his life, he encounters the devil, played by Peter Cook himself, who offers him 7 wishes to get Margaret with in return for his soul. Dudley Moore's performance in this is fantastic. I honestly wasn't expecting that much, as I'd only seen him in sketch comedy, but there's often a lot going on in his performance. He really makes you sympathise with Stanley without making you feel uncomfortable when the joke is on him. We share his frustration as we really do want this thoroughly likeable character to succeed. We also get to see him stretch his skills by playing all these different versions of himself, although his Welsh accent was less than convincing in my humble opinion. I don't know, let me know what you think.
Metaphorically speaking, and in a very real sense, society creates its own cages, cages of the mind.
It took me slightly longer to warm to Peter Cook's performance as George Spigot, the devil's current alias, as he is generally very deadpan, as he is in his sketch comedy. But his character is so delightfully impish that we too are almost won over by his puckishly gleeful sadism, as we get to understand his point of view. Much like the protagonist, we really don't know how we are supposed to feel about this version of the devil, and we aren't totally sure whose side he's really on, especially as he claims that he has no control over his mischievous instincts. He also appears in some of the wishes, later stating that it's because there's a little of him in everyone, so he gets to stretch himself a bit too. Eleanor Bron is also brilliant in this. If you know her at all, you probably know her from her role in the Beatles film Help, as the high priestess of the villainous, vaguely South Asian cult. Like Moore, she really gets to stretch herself by playing multiple alternate versions of Margaret. I'm really curious to see what else she's done now. Let me know if you have anything that you can recommend in the comments. The main 3 actors playing these different roles and the focus on the small cast make it feel rather theatrical, which I really liked. There are also the 7 Deadly Sins, who, whilst not particularly interesting or original versions, are a fun addition that doesn't overstay its welcome. Much like the Magic Christian, a half-naked Raquel Welch is featured far more prominently in the publicity material than you would expect for such a minor character with a few seconds of screen time. But that's marketing for you. However, these performances would be nothing without Cook's marvellously witty script, as the dialogue here is brilliant. The plot is fab, and there are just enough rules and world building to establish stakes without weighing down the pacing. It builds up its silliness slowly and could be appreciated more as a result. Whilst the satire in this film is mainly focused on religion, with plenty of conversations about God and the devil's relationship with him, it's never overblown, as you're allowed to find humour in the scenarios and characters as well. Naturally, there are a few individual jokes in this 55-year-old film that have not aged well, but it wasn't enough to overshadow the whole movie for me. Moore's jazz soundtrack is great, including the songs from the pop star sequence that I won't spoil here. If, like me, you're a fan of the 60s aesthetic, then there's plenty of swinging London for you to enjoy here, but if you aren't, I don't think this film will alienate you. Whilst I was always expecting to enjoy this movie, to my surprise, I was bedazzled by Bedazzled. I think it's down to the strength of these 2 main characters, thanks to the 2 leads' chemistry and Cook's brilliant writing. I honestly think it's the best film I've reviewed on this channel so far. I definitely recommend it to fans of Pete and Dud's other work, such as Not Only But Also, as well as fans of 60s comedy in general. If this video gets 10 likes, I'm definitely making a video comparing it to the 2000 remake directed by Harold Ramis and starring Brendan Fraser and Elizabeth Hurley. If you want to be the first to see that, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you never miss a video. Let me know if you've seen either version of the film in the comments below, or let me know on Twitter at Enchanted Essays. If you want to watch me review another comedy set in the 60s London, and a few seconds of a scantily clad Raquel Welch, you can watch my review of The Magic Christian here. See you soon!
idea.